I love ritual. As a child, I loved to watch the solemn high mass. There was something special there. There was a soul. There was a spirit. There was a nahual. There was some other anthropological catchword. There was, dare I say, God. And in my own small way, I was allowed to participate in it. The kneeling in unison, the listening for our cues and correctly reciting our lines together, the whole audience participation aspect of it. But mostly, I participated in the sights, the sounds, the smells of the solemn high mass. The sight of a man up on stage, surrounded by candlelight, which softened his features ever so subtly, wearing ornate costumes, brocade dresses, more jewelry than Lady Astor, the crozier lending a continental elegance, all crowned by a mighty mitre. My father didn't own a mitre or a crozier. None of my male relatives or neighbormen owned a mitre or a crozier. In fact, the only person I knew of who owned and wore in public a mitre and a crozier was the man up there. The man on the stage. The man who officiated at the ritual. The sound of a full-throated 8-part choir singing off-key, but to my young ears it was celestial. The sound of bells ringing at odd moments, and you didn't know why, but it was purely Pavlovian, and you knelt when you heard them. And the smell of incense in my nostrils, and the mild hallucinogen they put in it, clearing a space in my 8 undrained sinus cavities. And it filled my head, and it filled my nose, and it filled my eyes, and it filled my soul. It was then I made my decision. I resolved to become an altar boy. I, too, was now a performer on that stage. I became a dancer in the ritual reenactment of a Joseph Campbell passion play. I was the apprentice to a samurai. I bring him his ceremonial vestments. I wash his hands. I bring him his wine. I bow down before him. I kneel at his feet. I help him remove his ritual clothing after the Mass, back behind the altar, in his private chambers, in our private chambers, where no woman is permitted entry. But then there was that unpleasant homosexual incident, after which I was yanked ignominiously by my mother from the church and was forced to play on my high school rugby team. I miss the ritual. There's a spiritual void in my life. Oh, I've tried to fill it, I really have. The ritual movements have become my weekly trips to the disco. The surreptitiously supped altar wine and the inhaled incense have become booze and pot. The soaring sounds of sopranos has become the ecstatic sighs of sex. But all too often it only reminds me of that unpleasant homosexual incident. And so, to reclaim my sense of childlike innocence, of wonderment, to pursue my bliss, I resolved to become a choreographer. And now, I create my own ritualistic movements. I work best when I'm on X. And the groupies come. And they give me sex. My art has brought me closer to my God.